駆け抜け青春スパーキング
That led to, well, the next day. I didn't have time to come up with a meticulous plan. In the end, I went along with the date activities everyone had come up with together. Especially Shiori's. Shiori's date activity is definitely the priority. First on the list was to meet up in front of the station. I was having so much trouble remaining calm that I ended up arriving half an hour before the time we had arranged. Just how excited was I about this? There's no way Riri would be here this early. Well, if so, I knew what that meant. I would wait for her while my heart raced all the while. Yeah. All the while, she's already here. She in fact arrived 30 minutes earlier. Wait, she was here. She was standing in front of the monument we'd set as our meeting place. Sorry, Riri. You already here? You already here? I rushed over to her in a panic. However, just before she noticed me, I froze in place. Her hot sigh and gleaming eyes made my heart skip a beat. Riri started to fidget in place, seemingly unsettled. She briefly ran her fingers through her bangs, worried they weren't where she had left them. Was she getting her hair properly in place? It was almost like she was checking whether there was anything embarrassing about her appearance before she met up with me. Moments later, she sprung up and looked over the full length of her body. She seemed to be worried about the hem of her skirt and whether there were any wrinkles. Listen, with the kind of skirt you're wearing, you wouldn't be able to tell. With that out of the way, she took a deep breath to help calm her nerves. She's probably trying not to freak out too. And this was also that she wouldn't do anything weird once we met up, which could be at any moment. Yeah, you're the one who fucking decides. What do you mean? Which meant she was feeling just as nervous as I was in anticipation of my arrival. Riri. Watching Riri from afar like this even made my heart pound. Wait. It even made my heart pound. No emphasis. My face burned involuntarily hot. At the same time, I felt this tingle of pride. It's because of me. It's because she's going on. It's because she's going on her official first date with me. She was restless because she was waiting for me. I couldn't bear it anymore. I pushed my planted feet those few steps forward. Once I did, Riri noticed me. At that very moment, a smile spread across her face like a blossoming flower, and her cheeks darkened. Yeah, sorry. Looks like I kept you waiting. Kept you waiting, huh?
そんなことないです。今来たばっかりです。今日はよろしくお願いします。
She emphatically and enthusiastically, yet courteously bowed her head to me. I was sure she had set her heart on doing this. That thought made my heart pound even harder, and I couldn't help but crack a smile of my own.
Yuko?
Oh, how should I put this? I'm happy that I get to go on a date with you today, Riri. I hope you'll have a good time with me.
はい。いえ、それは本当にこちらこそで。
Riri's face flushed a dark shade of pink, and she shrunk into herself. She eagerly approached me all the same. Then she whispered to me,
ずっと楽しみにしてました。
Oh man, she was so freaking cute. Riri was positively adorable, and I was nothing short of elated. Is it okay to be this happy just because we met up? That thought crossed my mind, but I had to imagine it was probably fine. See? Look at that. Riri looked positively overjoyed. I had to believe things were fine, and that was all the more reason. I'll make her so happy today. I've got to make this a wonderful date. That pledge was woven into the deepest reaches of her mind.
それじゃあ行きましょうか、ゆうくん。
Yeah, we should, but given the occasion, why do we interlock our fingers together like lovers would do? You're going all the way to interlocking fingers, not just holding hands. You need to go a step further. The next step after that would be locking, interlocking elbow. What would be the the right phrase? Right, you get what I mean, right? She puts her arm around his, right? Is it just interlocking arms? I was already feeling exhilarated when I made that suggestion, and for Riri to jump in place and blush all the way to the tips of her ears. Do you not want to? This is our first date after all. I have to try and take the proper steps to match it, I guess you could say.
それはわかります。デートするくらいの仲なら、恋人つなぎくらいするっていうのも。でも、まだ手をつなぐことも満足にできないのに。
See, even she gets it. Yeah, so on that note, let's start by holding hands. I led into that. I led into that as well. With that, I held out my hand and gave her a bright smile. All right, glad to be here, Riri. When her hand slipped into mine, her body went rigid with surprise. I didn't let go today. However, and patiently waited. What? I didn't let go today. However, and patiently waited. Okay, no, I'm confused because of the first comma. I didn't let go today. However, yeah, see that works better. But you have the comma, right? I didn't let her go today. However, and then patiently waited for Riri to acclimate to the feel of my hand. I mean, look, it might be grammatically correct, right? But for me reading it, it just makes more sense. But then again, I already understood what he was trying to say, even with the comma. So, yeah, I don't know. We're joined for real by the hand.
繋いじゃってます。ゆうくんの手、大きいです。私の手、包み込まれるみたいになってて。ゆうくんの手のしっかりした感触や骨格が分かっちゃいます。きっと、私のもゆうくんに。
Yeah, I can tell that your hand is slender, delicate, and soothingly soft. Riri instantly became flurried, but I'm so happy. I flashed her a wide smile, prompting her to flush bright red with an audible gasp. Then she hung her head and began to fidget in place.
私も嬉しいです。もっと、ゆうくんと手をつないでる感覚、知りたいです。
I'm glad it's not just me.
ごめんなさい。どうしても最初は緊張してしまって、 ゆうくんは余裕があるのに。
Despite how I look, I'm nervous too.
そうなんですか?
Of course I am. I mean, I'm holding the hand of the girl I love. It's a special experience I've never had before, after all. Yeah, and you had that after kissing.
ゆうくん。
My hand might get sweaty, but try to ignore that, okay? Actually, we could just let go of it. We could just let go if it gets to that point.
いえ、そんな。お互い様ですし、私だって手汗かいちゃうと思いますし。
We're in this together then. That only makes sense. Of course, two people who love each other would feel the same way when they hold hands.
はい、そうですよね。ゆうくんと一緒にいる証。
Do you mind if we walk around like this for a while?
はい、よろしくお願いします。
With that, we had spent 10 or so minutes walking hand in hand. Ruri had been walking along awkwardly at first, but before I knew it, she had burst into a smile, just like this one. It looks like you've gotten used to it, huh?
はい、おかげさまで手をつないで歩くってこんなに嬉しいんですね。普段は違う歩調まで合わさるみたいになって、本当に一緒って感じがして、恥ずかしいことを言っていいですか?
Yeah, of course. What is it?
やみつきになりそうです。
Well, there are a lot of things you could get addicted to, in terms of the things that you can do in a relationship. That's the best way to put it. Ruri sounded shy, but it was clear she couldn't contain herself as she spoke, and it only made me smile all the more. Come on, you're so cute, Riri. She had been so tense until a short time ago. She seemed much more relaxed now, and I found that nothing short of irresistible. If that was how it was, maybe it would be better if we... Riri, want to try and move on to the next step? Move on to the next step up? This time, we'll absolutely hold hands like a couple. Oh, actually hold hands like a couple. Once again, Riri went stiff as a board. Riri was used to holding hands now, but lacing our fingers together was a line we had not yet crossed. Put another way, since she had acclimated to holding hands, I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna hold your hand now. It was no surprise that lacing our fingers together would make us feel closer than ever before. Yeah, he took her interlocking fingers' virginity. Simply having our fingers tightly meshed together made my body throb. Excuse me? Throb with delighted embarrassment. Ah, this is what he meant. And it came to no surprise that Riri reacted like this. From where I was standing, I found her stiff, embarrassed composure nothing short of adorable. Maybe it was because I knew she would definitely move past it. Alright, why don't we walk around like this a little longer?
よろしくお願いします。
We walked around for another 10 minutes or so with our fingers laced together. Riri was incredibly tense at first, and was walking along almost robotically, but... Not long after she did... not long after did she act like she was walking on air. Wait. I hadn't expected this. Kashima, hang on a minute. I was so shaken that I accidentally reverted to addressing Riri by her last name. In doing so, Riri softly nudged me with her shoulder and released my hand.
いや、鹿島さんなんてやめてください。リリですよ。リリ。
She's getting bold. Is this a date? Is this really what that idea of a date is?
あなたのなんて
Yeah. Even her enthusiasm was on a different level.
ゆうくん、私間違えてました。
Huh? About what?
このつなぎ方、恋人つなぎ、最高です。
So now you go up the next step to linking arms. That's what I was thinking of before. That's the words I was thinking of before. Those are the words.
怖いくらいにゆうくんが感じられて、ゆうくんにも私を感じてもらえて、幸せすぎますよ。
She reflected on it with a bright, charming smile. Such a staggering difference, but... just how cute can you get, Riri? If it had gotten her this mushy, whatever, then I guess lacing our fingers together had absolutely been worthwhile. Heck, I felt positively over the moon. I'm glad. Or more like... This is pure bliss for me too. I whispered into her ear. Oh, this is pure bliss for me too. I don't know if my mic picked it up. In doing so, her earlobe flushed a dark shade of red.
ゆうくん。
She giggled, rocking back and forth on her heel, and appeared more delighted by the second. A second later, she rested her cheek softly onto my shoulder.
好きです。
She whispered that quietly to me, as if she were giving me a treasure. Riri.
はい。あなたのリリです。
Brother. Holy crap, this was kind of irresistible. If Riri could go from stiff as a board to enchanted in a short amount of time, then... Yeah, what, like a few minutes? Like, an hour ago? There were so many things I wanted to do with her. Like what? Exactly. And I wanted to see and experience those changes in Riri with her at my side. You know, Riri, we shouldn't just walk around. Why don't we go to karaoke? I want to hear you sing.
二人っきりでカラオケですか?
Yeah. Of course. Which... her body went rigid again. But I knew that wasn't all there was to it anymore. Which was why we made our way to karaoke.
デュエットですね。わかりました。
And gave singing together a shot. Although she was a little stiff, she did her best to sing along with me when... In the middle of our song, I boldly put my arms around her shoulders. And then... Whoosh. She jumped back for all she was worth. But what happened next was quite different from before, now that Riri had gotten acclimated to our date.
ごめんなさい。慣れますから。無理やりにでも抱いてください。
We kept singing, especially if it meant I got to hear lines like that from her. Yeah, that wasn't part of the song. As a result...
肩に肩を抱いてもらってると、なんだか体がとろけそうになります。
She ultimately turned out like this. So we've established that if you coerce her enough, she'll eventually get used to it. Is this how they will lead to having sex? Because if she wasn't like this, I guarantee it would have taken an entire visual novel's worth to actually get a single H scene in Riri's route. Right? So, you know, I know what they're trying to do here, game. I can see your game, get it? But it's still cute. Riri had trouble holding hands immediately after we met up, and now look how far she could come. She had come. Just a few hours later. Yeah, in a sense, she may have been momentarily... In a sense, she may have been momentarily adaptable. Monumentally adaptable. Wait, what? I should have read this line when it first showed up. She may have been monumentally adaptable. B. Right? She may be monumentally adaptable. I don't know.
次はどこに行くんですか？私、どこだって嬉しいです。あなたとこうして一緒なら。
No, maybe adaptable isn't the word. This could just be pure innocence. Almost like she had preserved the same purity she had since birth. I mean, her blank canvas could quickly be dyed the color of lovers, or something like that. What a wild imagination. Whichever the case. That she took shoot. I took that to heart with the utmost sincerity. Next up, we headed to the bowling alley.
私、ボーリング初めてです。ボール、重たいんですね。
Then just get a lighter ball. Well, you use the weight of the ball to propel it forward in a sense.
なるほど。じゃあ、早速、投げてみますね。よいしょ。よいしょ。
Riri's first throw had some unexpected momentum to it. Even if it did wind up in the gutter. But that was a trivial matter. It stood to reason that for all the momentum behind her ball, she would have had to swing her arm just as hard. Her skirt had gotten caught in the crossfire and flipped upward, fully exposing her underwear. Wow, it's the same color as last time. I mean...
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。私ったらまた...
Riri naturally turned beet red and crouched down in place. Yeah, is this gonna happen every time she bowls? And then at the end, she'll get used to showing her panties to you? These were absolutely circumstances where she might want to say, I'm so embarrassed I could die, but... She quickly stood back up and rushed over to me.
ゆうくん、手を握らせてください。そうすれば私、恥ずかしいのも耐えられますから。
Well, that's one way to... What? Sure. She was right. As soon as she took my hand, Riri resumed her earlier spellbound expression. Our bowling excursion ultimately ended up after only a single game, but there were no further incidents after that. Aww, why not? Not to mention, she had been clinging to me like this ever since we left the bowling alley. You're really getting on board with all of this physical contact, huh?
自分でも信じられません。でも、 この嬉しさを一度知ってしまったら、恥ずかしいんですよ。まだ、恥ずかしいは恥ずかしいんです。だけど、それ以上に嬉しくて幸せだから、もう、あなたにくっつかずにはいられないんです。
I'm happy you have to cling up to me too, Riri.
熱くはないですか？
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, but it's not a bad sort of hot. In fact, it makes me happy to feel like it makes me happy and feels like the temperature of youth.
ゆうくん。
The temperature of youth. Riri's smile sparked brightly.
じゃあ、私教えてあげられたんですね。
Yeah, my master in youth sure is impressive.
でも、それはお互い様ですよ。
With that, Riri squeezed my hand tightly.
私も教えてもらったんですから。これが青春の温度なんだ。
Like a temperature of youth. How about that? This hadn't been one-sided by any means. Just like when we were holding hands, we were coming to understand each other together. That must have been what it meant to date someone.
どうしたんですか、ゆうくん。
I really am glad I got to date you, Riri.
いきなりすごい殺し文句です。
Don't go stiff again, because of it. That really was how I felt from the bottom of my heart.
私もです。あなたとこうなれてよかった。
You got charmed awfully quickly. In the very end, we wound up laughing together. Amazing. Every last part of this really did make me happy. This was a date. This was a relationship. It made me feel that way all over again. Which was why I wanted... Riri, there was something else I had in mind.
はい。
Want to grab some shaved ice from the from that food cart over there and eat while we walk? You have all sorts of experiences with Riri. Oh, yeah, that's what you were saying. That's what you were going to say. Not to have sex with her. We went and bought some shaved ice together. Finally.
私はブルーハワイにしました。
But out of every fucking event that happened during the date, this is the time they make a CG. This is the thing they make a CG for. That's kind of unexpected. I figured you'd go with lemon like I did.
ブルーハワイってどんな味なんだろうと思って。
It tastes like blue. Which, I don't know what that tastes like, but the human brain works in mysterious ways. Oh, I get it. You've never had it before.
はい。だから楽しみで。
I think I've heard before that it's the same flavor, and just that the syrup is a different color though.
もう食べる前からそんな情報を暴露しないでください。
Oh, sorry. But you know that comes down to your mood. Anyway, let's eat before it melts. Oh.
はい、そうですね。では、いただきます。
The way she made sure to give thanks to her food, even when she ate shaved ice, was such a Riri thing to do. Riri followed my lead and opened her mouth wide. What do you think of your first taste of Blue Hawaii? Riri? Brain freeze. Brother, you had one fucking spoonful, and it wasn't even a comically large spoonful.
どうしてしまったんでしょう、私。いきなりこんな頭痛に襲われるなんて。
It wasn't even a king bag Only a spoonful vine-sized spoon. I don't know why I... Never mind it. By any chance, is this your first time eating shaved ice, Riri?
はい、そうですけど。
It can give you a headache when you eat something cold that quickly. I guess they're called brain freezes.
今までアイスを食べた時にはこんな風にならなかったですけど。
Have you always eaten it a little at a time until now? Not in one big bite, all at once, just like just now.
はい、その通りです。じゃあ、今は調子に乗って一気にたくさん食べてしまったからですか？
Probably. Ate so much. With a spoon that small. I ate a lot. She ate so much shaved ice, guys.
浮かれてたののバチが当たったみたいです。
You certainly have been all smiles today. She had fucking like 1 to 2 teaspoons of ice.
私を浮かれさせてくれた人に言われたくないです。
I mean, I'm cheerful right there alongside you.
ゆうくんは頭が痛くならないんですか？
This hasn't bothered me for as long as I can remember.
つらいです。
Ruri's cheeks puffed up, and she lightly nudged her body against mine. So pleasantly squishy. So that's why they made a CG for this scene. For the titties. So they can zoom in on the titties. It's not just her shoulder. Her boobs are hitting my arm too. Yeah, that made sense. Boobs as big as Riri's would hit me awfully easily. Especially when she was snuggled up so closely like this. If anything, it was almost bizarre this had never happened before. In fact...
なんでニコニコしてるんですか？
I was just thinking, this is bliss too. I desperately downplayed the situation. I obviously couldn't say your boobs feel great against me, with the mood we had going. It would likely petrify her. Still though, for how super shy of a person she is and how easily she gets nervous, she does have a defenseless side to her. Don't say it like that. The painting flash of the bowling alley was a perfect example. Yeah, but we didn't get to see that one. But we didn't in CG form. We got to see the events play. We got to see it play out, but we didn't get a CG of it. You know, unlike the non-existent escape room scene in Shiori's route. Maybe that side of her really was because of how she was raised. Well, those thoughts crossed my mind.
そうですね。後になって笑いながら思い返せる気がします。
Riri seemed to be over her headache, and had regained her smile. This time around, she took miniature bites of her shaved ice to avoid further headaches. Yeah, she had to get a smaller spoon.
暑い中で冷たいものはさっぱりしますね。
Sure is. Especially considering how warm and fluffy of a mood we had going.
本当ですね。そう言われると、冷ましてしまうのはもったいない気もしちゃいますけど。
Things will heat up between us again in no time, right, Riri?
ゆうくんもですよね。
I sure hope we are out on a date together and all. I sure hope so. We are out on the date together after and all.
そうですよね。そうですよね。はい、ゆうくん。
That was when Riri leaned even more closely against me, and held out a scoop of shaved ice. You're going to feed me?
はい。ゆうくんにも食べてほしいです。関節キスも慣れていきたいですし。
Why are you still embarrassed by indirect kisses? Indirect kisses? You already kissed him. I can't possibly say no when you put it that way. Thanks for the treat.
おっきいお口ですね。
One of these times when I emulate fucking eating something, I'm going to fucking eat my mic. That's because I wanted to savor an indirect kiss. Fucking shut up! Indirect kiss with you as much as I could.
それを強調しないでくださいよ。恥ずかしくなっちゃいます。
Okay. As she said that, Riri squashed her chest against me all the more. I thought this was more embarrassing, but she was apparently fine since she wasn't doing it intentionally. My heart continued to race in my chest, though.
でも、私もゆうくんの食べたいです。
Was someone as bashful as Riri really saying something like that? And now that she had put it out there, there was no way I could possibly turn her down. Yeah, it would be wrong for just me to have to take some of yours.
はい。だから、お願いします。
Ruru whispered and opened her mouth slightly. That was when I got a good look inside her mouth. What? Riri, your tongue is blue.
Huh?
Oh, right. Oh yeah, I forgot that this happens when you eat blue Hawaii.
そうだったんですか?
Well, it's not exclusive to blue Hawaii, but if you have shaved ice covered in blue syrup, your tongue will become blue, yes. Well, it's temporary, so you'll be fine. Anyway, on that note,
はい。
I took a scoop out of my own shaved ice, and Riri opened her mouth wider. But did she really have to stick her tongue out? Listen, all I'm saying is, there are a lot of characters that have blue tongues that I want to do things to. So, it's not the same, right? But, never mind. Why was she showing off her tongue so much now? The feel of her chest was already making my heart race as it was. With the sexiness of her expression added to that.
人、多いですよね。ちょっと恥ずかしいです。
So, like, why'd you have to stick your tongue out to have his shaved ice? I stifled back the emotions that welled up inside me. Then I was made to realize this all over again. And that's definitely true. Riri isn't just cute. She was an exceptionally attractive girl, even in the sexual sense. I gently stuck shaved ice into Riri's mouth as my pulse pounded all the way to the tips of my fingers.
すごくドキドキします。関節キスの試合後。
Yeah, for sure. My heart was racing for a slightly different reason from Riri's, though.
でも、嬉しい。これでまた一つ階段を上がれたような感じがします。
A carefree smile rose to Riri's face. The sort of face that suggested she had no idea how much I wanted her. Yeah, maybe I should tell her. I wanted to give into the temptation. A part of it was because I thought, knowing Riri, she'll adjust in no time, even if she's embarrassed. If I were to take another step forward here and now, would Riri feel the same way I do?
Yuko.
You know, Riri. Then at the very second I was about to take that step forward, both of us froze in place. Ritsu, what are you doing here? Of course, yeah, is everyone fucking... Is everyone here?
成長したわね。ゆう。なんで微妙に師匠キャラなんすか。
はあ、ダメだぞ、ユウ。そんな不純異性交友は。
I was about to say, surely Shinji isn't here. I guess I stand corrected.
今更では。あれおかしいわね。さっぱり動かないけど。
So, like, how long have they been watching? Were they there the entire... I mean, you know, that's the thing, right? They're the ones who planned the fucking date, so they may have been there from the beginning. Of course we aren't! I screamed on reflex. What are you all doing? What are you all doing?
まずい、バレたわ。逃げなきゃ。
Late.
そっか、じゃあしょうがないね。悪いけど、ずっとつけさせてもらってたわよ。
Of course, yeah. Huh? The whole time? Not just now?
ちょっと響き、何自分から暴露してるのよ。あ、そっか。黙ってれば今だけだと思ってもらえたかもだ。
I told you it's too late. It's too late. Why you... all of you...
全部見られてただなんて。
Yeah, and if they didn't catch... if you didn't catch them sooner, they may have walked into the... they may have been watching them fuck. It may have watched the fuck.
まずい、カシマが飛んだぞ。
Of course she is. All of you need to learn the difference between what's okay to do and what isn't. Here's the thing. You shouldn't expect this from... You shouldn't... what's the word? You shouldn't expect Hibiki to respect boundaries. Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
だってうまくやれてるかどうか気になったんだもの。
I appreciate the thought, but that's not good enough of a reason. Well, I was busy getting mad. Deep down, a small part of me was relieved. In what way? Thank goodness. I avoided messing up the next big step. I guess. If that's what you're... I mean, sure. Or so I thought, now that I had calmed down. Yeah, it was obviously still too soon for that. You sure? Listen, you've already gone through Hibiki's route. You know what is too soon. It's Hibiki's... you know... The first hate scene in Hibiki's route was right after the confession. So, like, this is slow compared to that. Too soon to go there when we had only gone as far as our first date. You kissed. That was as far as you got. Yeah, but I just assumed this was for the best for today. But someday.
Kakenuke 青春スパーキング。
The next day, all of the club members decided to go swimming at the beach. Ruru was the one who made the suggestion.
確かに私たちはお付き合いを始めましたけど、だからといって部のことはないがしろにしたくないですからね。
What do you mean, ignore the club? The whole club was with you the entire time. Was with you the entire date. You know, they're the ones who were aware of it. They were the only ones who were aware of it, though.
そのあたりをきちんとしていなかったから、昨日はあんなことになったんだと思いますし、自分たちのお付き合いと同じだけ、皆さんのことも大事にしなきゃと思うんです。
That does sound exactly like something you'd say, Riri.
賛同してくださって、ありがとうございます。
Riri smiled sweetly and bowed her head. I couldn't help but feel a little self-conscious, with how we used to be, and how awkward we were because of it. It was unreal even.
よーし、そういうことなら今日はみんなで遊びまくるわよ。はい、ゆうくん、一緒にビーチバレーしましょう。
Enough so that she asked me to join her without a single worry. That suggested to me that she felt more comfortable around me after what happened yesterday. That should be obvious. It would be weirder if she wasn't more comfortable around you. Man, though. Yeah. Man, though. Unfortunately, I was feeling self-conscious now for an entirely different reason. All of this was due to what had happened yesterday. And I had seen that side of Riri. She was pressed up against me enough that I could tell how her chest felt after all. As a healthy adolescent boy, I would become cognizant of her as a woman, whether I liked it or not, after all, except for the fact that you should have already been cognizant of her as a woman when you saw her panties and her bra. So, like, you know, this would have been the third time, and now she was in her swimsuit. The swimsuit that you've already seen her in. This went without saying, but I could make out all of the curves of Riri's voluptuous body. Particularly her large heaving breasts that practically spilled out from her top. Someday, I'll have free access to these boobs. He's having these thoughts in front of everyone. He's gonna get a hard on. Uh-oh. I clenched my teeth and looked away. My mind was plagued by a flood of erotic thoughts whenever I looked at her. Was I always like this? Even though I wondered that, there was nothing I could do to help it. This was how I had turned out once I found a girl I liked.
ゆうくん？
Beach volleyball, right? Yeah, let's play together.
はい。
With that, the beach volleyball match began.
しっかり後ろ守りなさいよ。
I think ordinarily you stick the taller players in the front. I had been paired up with Hibiki as a result of rock, paper, scissors.
目に物見せてやりましょうね、カシモ先輩。やるからには真剣ですよ。
Our opponents were Riri and Ritsu. The Rees, if you will. As an aside, the other members were enjoying the beach in their own way. I couldn't afford to lose here. As long as I was at it, I had to have fun. By winning. Yeah, enough to shake off these pent-up feelings.
じゃあ、行くわよ。
Are you sure it's gonna shake off those feelings when Riri will continuously, jump and will be affected by physics in the chest area? You get what I mean? Hibiki's serve went flying together. went flying together with that shout. Riri effortlessly received the ball. Although I admired her for it, my mind instantly went to the gutter. Went to the gutter. Yeah, see, boob physics. Her tits were jiggling like crazy and bouncing, while I was busy picking my jaw off the ground. Ritsu landed a spike on me.
なんで棒立ちなのよ
Sorry, I was just staring at my girlfriend's tits. I mean...
りっちゃん、ナイススパイク
We had lost a point while the other side exchanged high fives. Over his chest. It's bouncing and jiggly like... just from high-fiving.
だからどっち見てんのよ、ユウ
Nowhere. Huh? Sorry. Crap. I didn't mean to stare again. No matter what I did, I would see them if I looked over at Riri's team, and I couldn't help but stare. No, stop it. If I needed to keep my lewd thoughts in check. It went without saying that the volleyball game ended in a resounding loss. Later, we got roped into participating in a variety of other activities, but I couldn't take my eyes off of Riri. All of this had made me realize my own incompetence, my lack of patience, and more than anything, how hyper-aware I was of Riri.
遠野先輩、どちらへ
Oh, just going to grab something to drink to cool my head real quick.
はあ、頭ですか
Hiragi, how do I put this? It must be nice to be so emotionally at ease.
よくわかりませんが、なぜか侮辱されたような気がします。
Must be nice to have small tits. It's your imagination. Your imagination. Well then. Things have gotten pretty awkward, so I temporarily break away from the group. Seriously. I wouldn't have been nearly this seduced if Riri had been as flat as Hiragi was, but yeah, that is true. This wasn't an issue and Chioris are out. I guess it's not true. I'm sure I would have been drawn to her when the time came, whether she was flat or not. Sure, let's go with that. With those thoughts in mind, I let out a breath and made my way across the sandy beach when... Huh? Sorry. Oh my. I couldn't help but panic when a hot, soft presence leapt and latched onto my back without warning. Hey. Huh? Riri.
Hi. Riri ですよ
Yeah, I know that, but these were it. These two soft things touching my back. No doubt about it. These were boobs, right? The same boobs I couldn't stop thinking about.
ゆうくん、どこに行くんですか
Riri whispered that question to me, oblivious to my obvious inner turmoil.
私を置いて
And she was even saying that to me. My head was spinning at this point.
どうしたんですか、ゆうくん
You know, Riri,
はい
when you touch me like this in your swimsuit is a little... I couldn't stand it and told her. If I was being perfectly honest, I was over the moon. But right now, this was too intensive of stimulation for me. To be blunt, if she kept doing this, you know, I won't be able to hold myself back anymore.
私は気にしませんよ
Huh?
むしろもっとしてあげたいです
Huh? Riri?
ゆうくん、今日は私のこと、すっごく見ててくれましたよね。
Was it that obvious? Yeah, shit. No shit.
だから、こう、してあげたいんです。
It's not what you said, but he was definitely thinking it. But it wasn't typed out. My head spun an entirely different sense of... in an entirely different sense from earlier.
ゆうくんも、私と同じ気持ちなら、もっと、でも。
Riri's sweetly hoarse voice was making my sense of reason melt away. This means what I think it means, right? That question bellowed from the deepest reaches of my heart. I mean, of course that would give me ideas. She would only do this with me. I mean, it was okay if I was... it was okay if it was with me. If I were to say that what that was, I assumed there could only be one answer. Yes, mainly.
ゆうくん。
She's allowing me to do anything now. That's how it is, right, Riri? Then, as customary, we headed home alone together.
今日は楽しかったですね。
Yeah, it was.
ありがとうございました。
Of course. You would pick that moment to thank me, Riri.
はい。リリですよ。ゆうくんの、なんて、また。それじゃあ、ここで失礼しますね。ゆうくん、また。
Hold on, Riri. I pulled Riri close and guided her to somewhere secluded nearby. Hidden from prying eyes, I enveloped her tightly in my arms and captured her lips with my own. Okay, you didn't need to make the sound so erotic. I mean, I can't even use the excuse that this is the all-ages version because you literally can't have this scene in the all-ages version because the routes don't exist. Riri didn't reject me. In fact, she happily returned the gesture. Riri gently leaned her soft body against mine. I was emboldened by that response, believing it was all okay. I really can't assume this means that's okay. That's okay.
ゆうくん、ありがとうございます。嬉しいです。お別れのキス。
Once our lips parted, Riri leaned her cheek against my chest my chest with a hot sigh. It came with an embarrassment and warmth that made me restless.
それじゃあ、離れがたいですけど。
All I could do at this point was speak up. Almost like I was being rushed, gasping for breath. Riri.
はい。
Tomorrow, would you come visit my place again?
はい。喜んで。
Riri answered me with a sweet smile. My head burned hot from the joy that my feelings had gotten through to her. From the conviction that we felt the same way. If so, tomorrow would be a day worth commemorating for the both of us.